What's good, y'all? I'm Nick,
I'm Lawrence.
and we just saw Air. Before we say what's real, please like and subscribe. So, I put on my favorite Jordans, getting ready for the movie. And there comes a time where you go to a movie and you think, oh, I'm just going to see a movie. And you get hit with a million things, a million feelings. You get hit with nostalgia, classic, and an unforgivable movie. Before I go too far, what you thought?
Was that what you think about the movie?
Oh yeah, I just want to give a little peek before I get into it.
Oh, a little peek. Okay. So I also wear Jordans, and you know what? These are leather, like the Adidas, right? And see, all that time, Nike even adapted, which is great to know. They adapted as well. And honestly, I think we had a great cast. Actually, an all-star cast. You had Chris Tucker, Marlon Wayans, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jason Bateman, Jay Moore. Viola Davis. It goes on and on and on, right? And everyone did their part. Everyone did their role. I don't have anything negative to say about anyone's acting in this movie. Everyone did a great job. The music, the vibe, the clothing, the references to music, like just the whole vibe of this movie was great. I'm agreeing with you 100%. What else you think about the movie?
The way it is paced, the way it is written, the way they give you a point of view of Sonny, everything was phenomenal. And I hate to just make it seem like, oh, this movie is perfect, because it was. Honestly, if you don't go see this movie, you're missing out, because I was sitting in my seat and I was immersed in the movie. I feel like I was in that time. They didn't even have to show me Michael Jordan for me to fully love the movie. The acting was phenomenal. I love this movie. It was classic.
I will say this, not a negative about the movie. Like I said, I have nothing negative about the acting. I will say this though, Michael Jordan reminded me a lot of Wizard Kelly from the Proud Family. 100%, because if you watch the Proud Family, you never see Wizard Kelly's face. And guess what? You never saw Michael Jordan's face in this movie, not at all.
But that's what made it perfect for me, because it wasn't about Michael Jordan's face. It was about him and who he is. That's what made it perfect, because if they would have showed his face, that would have just took away. You would have been looking at his face like, oh, they don't like Jordan. None of that matters. It's the feeling, the emotion, it's culture, bro. It's culture. And so that's when it starts hitting you. There's so many layers to the movie. I didn't even care about seeing him. I didn't care.
Well, before you cut me off, I was going to say that we couldn't see his face for a reason, because Ben Affleck and Michael Jordan had a talk about that. And Michael Jordan told Ben Affleck he didn't want his face to be shown. So that's another reason why it happened that way.
I don't care about that.
So it is what it is. I have a real issue with it. I just thought it was funny that it was like Wizard Kelly from the Proud Family, because never get to see his face. Never get to see his face. And Michael Jordan said literally, I think, one word. I think he said hello on the phone.
I think that was it.
And that was it. They showed his emotions to certain things, like when they did him like, I'm bored. I don't really mess with Nike or whatnot. But I will say Matt Damon did an amazing job. Ben Affleck was hilarious. If that's how Phil Knight is in real life, wow.
Chris Tucker,
hilarious.
Man, he knocked it out the park. You see, that's how you make comedic effort work. You don't do nothing corny. You make it seem genuine and humane. That's what it was. I was like, man, that's it right there.
You had a lot of comedians, like people who are in comedies, like Chris Tucker, Marlon Wayans, Jason Bateman, who's known for romantic comedies, and Jason Bateman also great from Ozark or whatnot.
Oh, yeah, he was great too.
You had an all-star cast. Ben Affleck directed this, and you could tell how great of a movie it was going to be when you see the two best friends, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, do a movie together. Listen, who you have chemistry better with than your best friend of 20, 25 plus years?
Now, hey, I will say this. The same gripe I had about Spider-Man using nostalgia, right? Does that knock this movie? Because it's sort of like a cheat code, honestly.
No, because it's different. Because, right, this movie took place in 1984, and there are tons of stories that we haven't seen or heard about, right? Like, we all know that he signed with Jordan, but we don't know the backstory. And to
Correct.
see the backstory, to me, is different, right? With Spider-Man, they didn't have to use those other Spider-Mans to make a story. They did that because they knew it was going to bring everybody in.
Exactly. But that's why I felt like, man, they just knocking out the park because they give you stuff you don't even know. And I literally felt like I was in 1984. Just for these 2 hours, I didn't care how long the movie was. I didn't have to look at my watch.
I thought it felt short. That's how good it was.
Felt short. And normally, I always have a complaint. Man, they should have ended it a certain way. The way they ended it, they gave you cliff points on what actually happened and how it happened. And I was like, see, that is perfect. They give you everything. They don't end it with some weird off take. They just, boom.
I gotta be honest with you. My favorite scene in the movie was a scene with Viola Davis, Michael Jordan's mom, and Matt Damon, Sonny, and her basically fighting for her son and saying, hey, we deserve some revenue. We deserve a piece of the pie. I love that back and forth on the phone.
And I didn't know that.
and I didn't know that either. So I love that back and forth on the phone. Like, I love Sonny's scene when he cut off Jason Bateman's video. And I thought that was a really impactful
that
scene.
speech?
Yeah, that speech
Oh
was
my
fire.
God. Oh
But
my
I thought
God.
the impact of the Viola Davis basically saying, hey, my son is going to be doing this and that. You know what I'm saying? He's going to win all these awards. You know, he's basically playing for all these young black men and, you know, like the kids and stuff. It was like so impactful. And I really felt when she was on that phone fighting, she's like, hey, I need this. And she wasn't taking no for an answer. And I appreciate that because of her, a lot of young men, black, white, Hispanic, are now getting paid more and more money because of that scene right there.
And it's just like, I didn't even think about it in that way. Jordan changed the game forever. Greatness. Greatest of all time. And he also paved the way for everybody else.
Yep.
Off the court. Because a lot of stuff we always say, oh, he changed the game. But we don't think about he was the one that opened the gates for all the other athletes to get their portion of it. So that itself is just beautiful. I didn't even think about it in that aspect. Like, wow, bro.
And to think back in 1984, Converse and Adidas
Was on top.
were on top.
Now they trash.
And then in 1996, Nike bought Converse. That is crazy.
You know, the hold that Jordans have on me and Nike have on me, I don't even want to look at Adidas when I go to the store. For what? Besides Kanye, but let's not go on that.
Let's not.
Let's not do that. But Converse, I was disgusted with Converse. I never wanted to wear them because why? Jordans, bro. It's our culture, bro. That's why it's like, wow.
But Converse had its time. The Chucks, it had its time, right? It had its time.
It didn't have its time.
Not for you, but it had its time for some young, for a culture time. It's had some time.
It had its time.
Now look, you've spent so much money on Nikes, and it's $400 billion has been spent on Nike all this time. How many Nikes have you bought over your time? Thousands and thousands of dollars. Thousands and thousands of dollars. Think about that. Think about how the culture has been affected by Jordans so positively. Everybody owns at least one pair of Jordans. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, a child, a baby. Everyone owns Jordans. Like, the impact Jordans have had is crazy.
And it's not because the shoes. It's because the man who put his feet in the shoes.
Yes, that's what it's all about. It ain't about the shoe, like you said. The man, that's what it's about.
Honestly, I don't want to give it a rating. For what? It's perfect. What I'm going to do?
Gotta give it a rating, bro. Go ahead and say 10 out of 10. Go ahead.
10 out of 10.
Gotta give it a rating.
10 out of 10.
Man. I told y'all I was gonna give y'all hugs. 10 out of 10. Come on over. Come on here. Miss Sarah's real. Miss Sarah's real. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Our first 10 out of 10 movie in the year, and it only took us 4 months.
History.
I'm not sure if y'all gonna see it again this year, so make sure y'all favorite this video, like, subscribe to this video, because you might not see it again for a long time.
And I have a question. If you made it this far, we really appreciate you, but comment below your first pair of Jordans.
Yes.
And that is Say Was Real.